Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to start now. I'm going to kind of ignore you guys in the chat. It's just going to be between me and the student. I'll guess I'll accept some Skype messages if there's something going wrong, but hopefully everything should be okay. So I'm going to get ready to start this very shortly, and I'm going to welcome him to this call. I hope this works actually. I've never actually done a lesson with Skype, so hopefully it'll work okay, so we'll give it a test. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great,
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm okay. You?
Yeah, really good.
I'm from Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden's amazing. I'm just going to check real fast before we get this underway if you sound okay into the stream, because I am
Okay.
streaming this, so does he sound okay? Let me just write it down. Hopefully you can hear, they can hear you. Okay, you're a bit low, so I'm just going to turn you up.
Okay.
That should be okay. Adjusting now. Okay, so hopefully that should be okay. Alright, so if you want to just say someone again, and it should be okay, I guess.
La 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 la.
La 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 la. Okay.
Is that valid?
I'll just find out, because there's a little bit of a delay on the stream, so we're just going to have to find out if they can hear it for you.
Okay.
So, 1 second. Okay, they say it's okay now. Still a bit low, so let me hold on 1 sec. They say better, but it should be okay.
No.
I've turned you up even more, so... Okay, is that better, people in the chat? Is it better?
But you can hear me fine, right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, so...
Great.
That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just find out if these guys can hear it okay. If you can, what we can try and do is... I'm just gonna... Hold on 1 second. I'll be back in a second, guys.
Yeah. Mm. That's no problem. At least I'll try. I'll try. Mm. It's weird because it's normally not it's normally quite loud. Yeah, but it's a little weird because it's almost at max.
Alright guys, welcome back. I'm going to do another test, so I guess you can say, hello, my name is Christian, and then we can
Hello,
test.
my name is Christian.
And I guess we'll see if these guys can do it. I've got stream delay on, so it takes a few seconds.
That's no problem.
It says it's fine. Still low, but good. Okay, so basically, let's just get on with it then. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of ignore the guys in the chat. I'm sorry if it's not good enough, because you're going to have to turn it up, or somehow... or what I could do is maybe turn me down, actually, before we do this, I guess. Maybe I can turn me down, and maybe that'll balance us out a little bit, and then it should be a bit better. Alright, I'll try that. So, alright, anyway, let's try and continue. I'll just keep an eye on the chat to make sure it's okay. So, first of all, welcome to the lesson, dude. This is obviously going to be a roughly 2-hour lesson from here on out. And we're going to try and improve you as much as possible. And, of course, you know, that's my job to do that. So, I've obviously read through your email that you sent me, and I've made a lesson plan that we're going to use today. So, the lesson plan that I have made out in front of me is, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about you and your goals and so on. And first of all, you've obviously said in the email that you're playing 6 to 8 hours at the, or you can very soon. I don't know
I
if that's
can.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna be able to play that
It's
for a while now as
I'll
well.
just say it's quite hard for me to actually play that much because it's tiresome and
Okay.
stuff. But I'm getting used to it.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's going to be good, and hopefully with that kind of work ethic in the background to what we're going to do today, hopefully you're going to, improve it really, really fast. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
So what I've got planned for today, we're going to discuss the email. You talked a little bit about how you like to play against each race. So we'll go over that. And then I'm going to answer the questions which you've asked me also in the email. And, going over the timings, holding pushes, overload spread, when to take extra bases, drones, injects, and so on and so on and so on.
Great.
So then after that, once we've discussed that, and that's roughly half an hour or so, once we've discussed that, I'm going to go ahead and open up your replays on the stream and everything, and watch the replays, and we'll go through some replays to kind of highlight some issues and so on,
Oh,
and be like, all right, well, this is obviously where you're going wrong, and this is how to change it. So, and then we'll do a bit of theory there as well, and then at the end, and we'll roughly leave an hour where we're going to be able to play.
ooh.
So I'm gonna get somebody in. They're gonna come help us out, and you're gonna play against him. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell him what to do, and then you're basically just gonna play your usual game. I think for the first game we do, I'll shut up and be quiet and just let you do your thing, and then we'll come
Okay.
back to it. And then from there on out, I'm gonna just push you through it and be like, all right, well, why are you doing that? This is what we should be doing, and so on and so on. Excuse me, and so on. And hopefully that will be the 2 hour lesson, and it should go down rather well, I think. So let's go ahead and kick this off then. So first of all, a goal that you should be setting yourself. You should always have a goal. Um, so let's say right now you said you want to play 6 to 8 hours a day
Mm.
for 6 months or so. So a reasonable
Yeah.
goal for you right now. First of all, how high are you in platinum exactly?
I'm in diamond.
Okay. Oh, you're in diamond now. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm in a mid diamond.
okay, mid diamond now. Okay, so that's actually an improvement before we even started.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so you're in mid diamond now. Who are you playing against? Are you playing against only diamonds, or are
I'm playing
you?
against only diamonds.
Okay, only diamonds. Is that high, mid, low diamonds? Because it can kind of find out where you
At
are.
moment it's mid diamonds as I just got promoted and have to like get used to playing against people who are a little bit better.
Okay, okay. All right, that's cool. So you're in mid diamond. I think a reasonable goal within the 6 months. That's a big goal. So you obviously want to break it down. We'll have a big long term goal, and then we're gonna have a obviously smaller goal. So long term goal is definitely Master League. There's
Master League,
absolutely no
indeed.
reason not. And that's like mid Master League for sure. Long term
Yeah.
goal, if not higher. So Master League plus. Short term goals. Let's look what we now in January. Mid diamond you should be looking by the end of this month, if you continue to play and obviously learn from today's lesson, you should
Mm.
therefore be looking at high diamond, top 8, top 3,
Yeah.
for sure. Definitely, it's 3 months. Um, and then from there on out, every other month, or going into the next month, February, you should be looking to play against past elite players and look to beat them, of course.
Mm.
And then it kind of scales up from there. But these are definitely some awesome goals for you to hit.
Yeah.
So, and you should be looking to get promoted definitely by the end of next month into Masters, and then you should be obviously rising up from there on out.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of the goal set. Let's go ahead and start to discuss about the kind of email you sent me. So from what I can see, you play it's fine on paper. It looks fine. I don't know if it will be when we play, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find out. Ling Bling, roaches if needed against Protoss, drops, blue Brutal Infester, and so on and so on and so on is fine. Zerg vs Zerg seems fine as well. Zerg vs Terran
Mm.
also seems fine. Obviously, that's on
Yeah.
paper, and we'll see more
Of- It's
specifically.
easy. It's a lot easier to write down on paper than actually
Yes.
doing it.
Yes, it is, and we'll see that. So we can, I mean, like I said, it's all fine. There's nothing wrong so far, so that's good. Let's go
Oh.
into the questions though. So timings. These are different subjects in itself. This is something I forgot to mention also. Excuse me.
Mm.
Is that everything I talk about today, I basically have written in front of me anyway. The notes and so on. So we're going to be going over these points in these subjects, and I'm going to email them across to you at the end of the lesson anyway. So it
Cool.
doesn't matter if you kind of don't think about writing it down now. Just think about what I'm saying and get it into you. And then even if you forget about it, it doesn't matter because it's going to be sent across to you in an email once we finished up in the lesson. All right. So are you good to go into this next part?
Of course.
Excellent. So let's go into the first subject, which is timings against Protoss. So timings already, you should be thinking about obviously the specific times. So first of all, 4, 5, 6, 7 gate. We'll break it down. If he's going forge fast expand, that is right.
Yeah.
So if he's going forge fast expand generically, you should be saying, okay, I have 8 minutes to drone
Mm.
because 8 minutes is when warp gate is done. Okay.
Oh.
So, and that's the fastest time, basically. I mean, you can get it about 7:30, but I think in your league, the fastest time it's ever going to be is 8 minutes. So,
Mm.
from the 8 minute mark, you should be like, all right, wow, let's go ahead and get ready for this attack. And then from there on out, you just build units, scout, and then when I say scout, is you need to scout specifically. And so at 8 minutes, you now know that you need to build units. Um,
Mm.
then you need to scout with obviously an overlord at 7:30 or whatever to find out the specifics to that. To find out
Mm.
what exactly do I need to prepare for. Because you can build units and just be like, all right, well, I'm going to build Ling Bling and defend whatever comes. But let's say if he goes for a 2-base Colossus push, then you want to be
Mm.
more specifically ready for it compared to if he was going for Blink Stalker push or something like that,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So first of all, the first timing there, to highlight that once again, is 8 minutes, is when warp gate is done. But obviously, that's a big timing, right? So there are
Yeah.
smaller stuff before, such as 4 gates, +1, maybe a Stargate, maybe a Robo in there as well. This stuff is usually going to be coming around 6:30-ish to 7 minutes, a little bit
Mm.
earlier. So
Mm.
you be getting roughly ready about then if you'd be like, all right, well, if you go Stargate, you know, if he's going to bring units, this is probably when it's going to be now. So maybe you want to build a handful of lings, at that mark, so
Mm.
that you can prepare yourself for it. Is that other timing as well? You said you're okay against general star play, right, or Stargate play.
Yeah.
Okay, but so the biggest thing from what you've got written down is that you don't know how to hold these pushes. So
Mm.
let's go from right from the start of the game. You go ahead, you go spawn and pull expansion or whatever. You build 4 Zerglings.
Mm.
You then take the Zalnaga tower. You chase around a probe or try to find a probe, and you also have
Yeah.
another one parked outside of his ramp. Then
Mm.
it's like at 4 minutes. You're droning, you're droning, you're droning. It comes up to 6 minutes. You're like, all right, well, this is the time I should probably just, if especially if we're going for a fast third base, which you've identified as a strategy, you should be like, all
Mm.
right, well, maybe I should build, or just build a few units at this point, and then you just continue like normal. So drone, drone, drone. So you have 4 lings. So let's go right to the start. So drone, 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 4 lings, drone,
Mm.
drone, 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 10 lings, maybe at the 6 minute mark. Drone, 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 drone. Okay, 7:30, 8 minutes now. Probably want to start building these lings and bailings if you like to use, or roaches, and also start
Yeah.
scouting at that time as well. In terms of scouting as well, to kind of go along with this, so let's just take it back to the Rock Ages and say our opponent's on 1 base, right? We
Mm.
see at 5:36 minutes that when warp gate should be done, he hasn't expanded, right? You usually then say to yourself, all right, well, let's find out what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
Then you send an overlord in. You basically, when somebody goes forge fast expand, you just add a minute onto that timing, and then you go in at that timing, and that's the
Mm.
time that it starts to build, because that minute is basically the nexus, the forge, and so on, and then whatever he's doing after that. So
Mm.
then you have a natural overlord timing to go in of around 7 minutes or so,
Yeah.
or 7 minutes, 7:30, because it's coming at 8 minutes. Warpgate finishes at 8 minutes. It's probably coming at the fastest time possible then. So when you send in, as the gateways, as the Twilight Council, whatever's been chrono boosted, warped in to find out more specifically to get that information.
Mm.
Okay, so and then you just literally need to build units at that point. And if he comes with a push, you have units. You now are prepared for a timing of 2 bases. Most important
Mm.
to go along with this as well, which you cannot forget, is you have to have active eyes on his third base, right?
Mm.
Because you need to know, is he taking that third base? It should be an overlord close to it, a ling or something. Because at 8 minutes, if you see him come out with a ling outside of his forge and cannons and crap, then you're probably going to be like, all right, it's coming. But if you
Yeah.
don't see anything on his third base and he plants down a nexus, you're then preparing yourself for a timing attack which isn't actually coming. So you
Mm.
have to make sure, because if he comes out at 8 minutes, kills your ling outside his base, great, he's coming out. If then you see again that he's building a nexus there, you're like, oh, Okay, dude. All right. No, 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 no. And then you can build units, and then you can go stop that third base or something.
Mm.
Okay, so is that okay? Is there any questions on that, on
No,
terms of timings for pushes and so on?
not at the moment.
Okay, cool. And we'll look at that
Mm.
when we get into the practical as well.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the next point which you've got written down, which is overload spread. The best tip for overload spreading is literally you need to grab overloads as they pop. That's the ideal situation. Overload pops, you click it, you spread it. You know, if you build 3 overloads, you click all 3, you spread all 3, as
Yeah.
much as possible. And obviously you want to be spreading them usually behind you, like to the back left, to the back right, because obviously you don't want to send them out in the front of the map, do you?
Mm.
And the answer is no to that,
Yeah.
of course. So, you know, you spread them out to the back sides and you kind of cover the different angles that drops can come in, warp prism can come in, and so on and so on and so on. Mid game, usually once you've taken a third base, upgrade the overload speed. It's what I've been doing a lot in my stream. It's what I've been, you know, talking about as well. And all of a sudden, because past that stage, once you've got a third base, you probably experience 15 overlords or whatever clumped in one place because you then it's too much to handle, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, let's say you do have 10 overlords clumped as one. You grab overlord speed and then you send, and you can send them across map now because they've got overlord speed. They're just gonna, you know, zoom there, and then you can spread them everywhere to every expansion on the map, to every hole in between bases, and you just cover the entire of the map. And obviously that helps the problem with overload spread because I personally have overload spread problems too, and that's the best way that I deal with it. So I definitely recommend that for you. So I'm just gonna write this down and make sure I do email, you know, put it into the email. So grab and move is the obviously initial way to deal with it, and then after that overload speed and just grab them and send like a bunch. And you can literally take like you know 10, 15 seconds out of your game to do that, and it's definitely
Mm.
beneficial to your game.
Mm.
Okay, so the next subject. When to take a fourth, fifth, and sixth base. The fourth base is the most important out of everything. This should be very, very important. And to be honest, you asking me when should I take a fourth base is a bit of a worry. So I'm excited to see about your play because the fourth base, when you grab the seventh and eighth gas, that's when you can build brutals, infestors, upgrades. You can do everything right when you get those gases. But on 3 bases, you can't quite do that.
No.
And the fourth base should open you up for a natural timing of the infestation pit, when to go to hive, because when the fourth base gets planted down, that is the general time, just the standard time for when you need to plant down the infestation pit. And then by the time that finishes and you've got your hatchery up, you take the gases, then you can go hive. So it kind of leads you to a natural time. Um, Basically, when you take a fourth base is obviously when you can. Usually, let's put it into a game specific scenario. So we're playing against a Protoss player who's gone Forge Fast Expand. We've gone 3 bases. We're looking at our timing of 8 minutes. We're sending an overload at 7:30. We see 6 gateways, right? We now
Mm.
know we're playing against it, and with your style as well, we build lings, bailings, and everything. And when he comes with his blink stalkers or whatever, we have so many units we crush it, right?
Yeah.
What do you do after you crush it? You go expand to your fourth base straight away.
Mm.
Against Terran, when do we take a fourth base? Let's say we open up 2 base Spire, which is
Yeah.
something you said you do as well. So we open
Yeah.
up 2 base Spire, we get Mulus out, and at that very point when Mulus start to pop, and there's a timing window of when you place down the third base. It can be a late third base like Lenok does, or it can be a
Mm.
faster one like Idra does. So the fastest one is basically once you as soon as you build all the Mulus, you take a third base. Well, actually, let me think about that. So okay, the third base can be taken. Sorry, after the spy has been placed down,
Mm.
is the fastest possible. Sorry, I was just thinking about it.
No.
Because right then, if you think about the way that you should be balancing resources as you're building Mutalisk, right? As
Mm.
Mutalisk pop, you want to have gas and minerals the same balance, 1,000, for example, and
No.
you can build 10 mutas. But obviously, I don't know if you've experienced it yourself. You should have as a Zerg player. Is that your minerals sometimes go a lot higher than the gas
Mm.
obviously comes in. So
Yeah.
then, and that window of when you're trying to balance your minerals and gas, you add on a macro hatch, maybe an additional queen, maybe you build 5 overlords or something to spend your money, right? That's the
Mm.
earliest time you can build a third base. It is obviously more risky, but is obviously a higher risk, better gain, because obviously it's risky, but you gain the gas faster from the third base. and that's the fastest time possible. The latest time for the third base, obviously, then is going to be once Muta's out and you started going across the map. So when do you take a fourth base in that scenario? So we take a third base, we're out harassing, basically whenever you want, man. As you're harassing with Mutalisk, he should be defending on two base, trying to take a third, right? So as we're doing that, we're harassing and whilst trying to take a fourth because we've already got a third. So it's pretty fast, and then you get that seventh and eighth gash, and then that's when you can start to get infestors out and go to hive and so on. And the overall timing for that for a fourth base is roughly, let's say we take the third base at, let's say, 11 minutes. Kind of a safe time, 11-minute third base. So your fourth base should only be a couple minutes later, like 13, 14 minutes. And that's the kind of just standard timings that we've got written down here. Fifth and sixth base, whenever you want. It obviously depends on when you main or natural starts to mine out, if you can take more gas. But four bases is the most crucial, of course. Okay, so the next point you've got written down is, how to drone in Zerg versus Terran. So let's go from the beginning of time. You build up drones until you hatch up and so on. You build 4 lings when the spawning pool is done. You then send your lings out to the Xelnog, tell Xelnog Tower his ramp or whatever, and then Hellions come out. They push you back. You lose map control now. This is like a standard game should happen. You now lose map control. He's outside your base. You've got a few lings. And let's just say for this example that he maintains map control until Mutas come out. Because we don't get us around on his Hellions or anything. And at that point, we've built a safety net of lings around 16 maybe, and a spine crawl. So 16 lings hidden, spine crawl on the natural, right? Ready for his Hellions. And then we're droning up to 50, 2-base saturation. You never build more than that because obviously we can't use them. No. And then that's when the macro hatch comes in, that's when the third base comes in. And then literally, ever since the spire completes, all the gas goes into Mutalisks. All the minerals go into drones, hatcheries, and lings. Okay? So at that 50 drone point when we're on 2 base, and then you go out and build Mutalisks, we take a third base, you drone a 75 then. Bam. Straight 75. You add on 25 drones, you saturate that third base there and then. Then you take a fourth base, and you don't necessarily need to build drones for the fourth base. You can just grab, 10 drones from the third base. And I'll just mention that too. You can grab like 10 drones from the third base and then just send them to grab extractor. You have 8 left, mine 8 on the minerals. Then when the extractor's done, 3 and 3, you got 2 left on minerals. It doesn't matter. Gas is the most important part. And that should be that for droning. Very, very simple. So it's like drones 4 lings, drones 20 lings, drones all the way to 50, Mutalisks 75 drones or 80 drones, however you like to play or whatever.
Okay.
Let's take a sip of water. Alright, so I'm not losing you anywhere.
Nope.
Alright, cool. Alright, so let's go and talk about the last point is injects that you mentioned you sometimes don't hit. First of all, when we play as a Zerg player, you should be playing within rhythm. And within that rhythm, it's basically the cycle of a lava inject, right? So, for example's sake, let's say a lava inject takes 10 seconds from start to finish. So, basically, your rhythm starts with a lava inject and finishes back at the lava inject. So, back at the hatchery. Starts at the hatchery, finishes the hatchery, right? So, you have like a time scale. So, you have a 10-second time scale window. It obviously is more than that, but we'll just do it for example's sake. So then in those 10 seconds, that's when you spread creep, that's when you build drones, that's when you move and flank, that's when you counterattack. 10 seconds, back, lava inject, 10 second cycle again, back, lava inject, and you hit that 10 seconds over and over and over and over. That will naturally help you lava injects, of course. And obviously the other thing that you need to focus on, which a lot of Zerg players at your level do not do. When you are in a fight, do not give a rat's bum about the units, okay? You do not care about them. When you have a Ling and Baneling army and roaches or whatever you have, you get in good position, you come in from a good position, you attack move, you forget about them. You come back home, you hit every single lava inject. Then you come back, manage your army. Maybe then control a little bit better. back manage your army over and over, or back managing the lava injects over and over. That is the biggest tip for a student. Many students I've had before in the past, when I've told them to do that, and we will do it today, is when I tell them don't give a crap about your army, all of a sudden your macro becomes amazing because you're focusing on your lava injects. Because if you think about it, as a Zerg player versus a Protoss or Terran, let's say we're maxed out. Just, another example. We're maxed out. We go into a fight. We try to control the bait. We come in from this flank. We hit these fungal growths. We manage all this. And then we lose anyway because it's Zerg. We're not meant to beat a 200 army from Terran or Protoss.
Yeah.
You come back. You haven't lava inject. You have very little lava. You then build a few units that you can. He comes at you with the rest of his 150 supply ball. We're streaming in with little bitty units, and he just picks them off one by one, and we lose the game. And I cannot count, probably throughout my 6 months coaching, 12 months coaching, sorry, that people have come to me and said I can't macro properly. And this happens over and over. You go against a big ball, you lose against the big ball, you can't macro, you die. And it's all about not giving a crap about units. If you've ever watched Liquid Rep play, in first person, if you streamed or in tournaments or whatever, you will notice that he doesn't care about his units. He literally attack moves and doesn't care, and hits every lava inject, spends every single lava he can on units, and that's the biggest thing to improve on your lava injects for sure. Alright, so I'll obviously highlight all these once again within the email. I hope you enjoyed that little talk there. Yeah. And hopefully it opens your eyes a little bit to these different subjects. So what I want to do now is basically go into game, and we can go ahead and start looking at your replays, okay? Okay, so I haven't actually looked at them yet, but we're going to do it together. So let's go ahead and look in game. And okay, so let's first of all look at your Zerg versus Protoss. We'll start off with the Zerg versus Protoss Apollo 1 you sent me, okay?
Yep. Which
is on Shakir's Plateau. So go ahead, open that, and pause it when you get in. And
I just have to find it first.
Okay, no problem. No problem at all. So just let me know when you're in.
Here we go. And I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Alright, so let's have a look at this then. So we're in game, and you're playing against a Protoss player on Shakir's Plateau. So I'm literally just going to times it up and let it buffer through a little bit. Oh, Skype's stopped working. Hold on a sec. Can you hear me? Oh, hold on 1 second.
Hello? Hello? Okay.
We can continue from here on out. So I'm just going to let this replay buffer through. I'll switch over to game screen. So first of all, let's have a look. So, you open up for an early pool. Okay.
Yeah, mainly. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Let's have a look. So Oh, go ahead.
The reason for the early pool is because mainly if I go 15 pool, it will take me a long time to get the links if he decides to grab a pylon or something to block me, and then I'll have the link right away if I go this 13.
Okay.
12 pool, which kinda make me immune to cannon rushes and stuff like that, because my links will be so early that he won't be able to actually cannon rush me.
Okay. That's fine. I'm just looking at this right here, and that's actually a perfectly good explanation on that. Alright, so first of all, the first thing I'm noticing here, at 3 minutes 40, if you can come here exactly, I want to just stress a single point. And this point is just prioritizing your actions, which is the first point I want to bring up today. And I'm going to write this down as well. So I've got my pen and paper.
Yeah.
Show on the webcam, you can't see it, but you'll have the email. So, alright, so the first point of this replay, so I'm just going to write it, replay number 1. So I want you to come at 340 and prioritizing, I'm going to write this down to prioritizing actions. Okay, so at 340, right now, we've got 4 links out, and I want you to also at 340, before we play, set it to your player camera, and also set it to normal. Okay, so before we play, at 340, we can see that queen is about to pop, right? You know the queen's about to pop. That is #1 priority to hit that initial lava inject. Because obviously, that it's obviously more important. With links, you can just click all 4 of them and hotkey them up, which you have done, to a Xel'Naga tower. They're all going to go to a Xel'Naga tower, and you can click on the minimap. Even you can just roughly click anywhere on the other side of the map, and they'll go there, right? And you can always come back and sort them out after. So I want you to play on normal in 3, 2, 1, go. And look at your vision. Queen pops now. Hit a lava inject. No, we don't do it. We're looking at the links and we're thinking about spreading them. We complete the spreading and then we come back and hit the lava inject. That should have been the other way around. Obviously because it's very important. So that's obviously a small thing there. So prioritizing actions. And then we've obviously now, as we hit lava inject, 8 energy behind where we should be. Alright, so let's go ahead and look through this some more. I'm just going through on ×2 at the moment. Okay, so you're just going to get a fast third then by the looks of it.
Yeah, at least I think so.
Okay, with a fast third base, you can get it before that second queen. I know you're building another queen here. You can just build that queen from the hatchery when it's built on the natural, or you go build the hatchery at 4 minutes 30 seconds, and then build the queen after. It's basically just so you can really benefit from getting that fast third. Because, to get an additional queen, what's that really going to do? Help you creep spread a little bit earlier. From the main to the natural, but that's all it's really going to do at this current point in time. So definitely the better benefit is from getting that faster third base at 4 minutes 30, and then get that extra queen, because you're still going to hit lava injects over in the main. Also, if you hit lava inject as soon as that natural hatchery finishes, you can't spend all the lava. You don't have the money, especially if we're going for a third base. So it doesn't matter about hitting a second lava inject straight away. So 4 minutes 30, third base. And you could have, done that nice and super fast. And when you do take a third base, I'm just going to highlight this too. You have to have an overlord there by it, right? Just because if he does want to, build let's for example look at the third base and on the higher ground builds a cannon or pylon cannon higher ground. You obviously want to see it. Let's have a look at everybody's vision. You do want to be a bit careful. I know in platinum people may not do it as much, but as soon as you start to come in diamond, I mean not platinum, sorry, in diamond people may not do it enough, but as soon as you start to hit Master League players, they're going to hide the probe a lot of the time. And they will hide it from anywhere, and I'm just going to write this down too, hiding probes, they will hide it anywhere between your third and fourth base, always between your third and fourth base, because that's the reason the pylon is there, so that they can go ahead and harass your third base maybe with +1, or later on harass your fourth base, but usually for your third base, so that's the location it's going to be. So on this map, it's going to be maybe in between the natural and third by the grass, but usually on the higher ground somewhere on that fourth base. Because if I was playing against you, I'm hiding my probe up there. There is the certain other time too, is if you go to that bottom left, right base, sorry, if you move it left to the 6 o'clock, and then there's that top right, there's that little hole there by the destructible rocks. And that may be another location, but that's something you need to know and go scout for nice and early. And you got 4 lings when you make them, right? So I don't know what happened. Did you lose one to a cannon? Maybe.
I believe so.
Yeah. So you could even just use that 4th one that you wouldn't have lost, and then just go and check out around. All right. So let's continue to play.
Yeah.
I'm just going.
I remember this replay.
I'm just on 5 minutes going through, and we don't need to watch the entire 25-minute. I'm just going to highlight until the biggest mistake comes through.
This guy just kills my my third with an immortal attack or something.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll discuss that when it happens.
Much sad at that point.
Okay.
But never give up, never surrender.
That's right, man. All right, when are you taking your double gases?
Yeah.
When? Like, what time?
Minutes.
At 6 minutes.
At when I got 16 drones.
Okay. All right,
and
so
that should be at 6 minutes every time.
okay. Well, it's like 6:20, but that's okay. Double gas there.
Oh,
okay, cool.
That's probably because I forgot them then.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, so you see, did you see this? Let me just have a look. Did you see the zealot coming? I guess you did because it killed it in the zealot tower. Okay, cool. So you literally don't overreact. Let's have a look how many units you build.
4, 6 links.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. All right, so first of all, let's have a look at overlord positions. They're not too bad. The one on the left-hand side, so I'm just going to pause it for you at 7 minutes, because this is what we talked about of when to start to beginning thinking about what he could do, right? Okay, so at 7 minutes exactly, let's have a look. Do we have an evolution chamber down? Okay, evolution chamber timing is late, so we're going to highlight this first. Especially against the Forge Fast Expand. Evo chamber. Okay, so your evolution chamber timing should be basically been put down. Oh, so it might, once again. Oh, sorry.
I believe I actually forgot it, because normally I put down my road front and my illusion chamber down at 6.5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that's fine then. Okay, 6.5 minutes. Because I was gonna say the example, like if you're playing on one base, right, and you're playing against somebody that could go DTs or something, right? You'd kind of need the evolution chamber down on 5:30 to be in time. And likewise, plus 1 minute because we're playing against Forge Fast Expand, Evolution Chamber down 6:30, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah. So in this replay, we'll just ignore that then, and we'll go on to the next point, which is the Overlord scouting. So first of all, you should be with the Overlord on the left-hand side. You should be. I'm just going to fast forward from 6 minutes just to check if you did move in or move out, and then fast forward to 7 minutes, because it's very, very important to actually look for the gases, and I'll explain why. Okay, so at 7 minutes you didn't do it, but we'll talk about it. So obviously, if he's taking double gases now, you know he's teching heavily. Is it, you know, Colossus, double Stargate, DTs, or anything like that? So you know it's a kind of a tech route rather than a heavy gateway play, right? So that's important to know. So at 7 minutes and 7:30 minutes, you should be like, all right, does he have the gas yet? No. Okay, start to know that he's going to throw down into gateways. Because at 7 minutes exactly, look at his resources. They're basically 500, 100, right? So that's 500 minerals that would have been into gas, so that he could have teched up if he'd taken the gases. But at this point, it's not. So it's probably going to be throwing down extra gateways. So you already start to filter his options down. So we've already talked about timing, and you know it's coming at 8 minutes if Warpgate finishes on time, if he's not slow. And now we're filtering options down. So we now know that he's not teched. If we scouted the gases, we now know that it's going to be gateway heavy because he hasn't got the 3rd and 4th gas. So very important point there. And then we can then scout into his main base and then be like, all right, well, I'm pretty sure we're going to be expecting gateways because he hasn't taken his 3rd and 4th gas. Let's find out. Go in. What do you see? So let's just go up to, like, because you should be ready to go in about 7:20, 7:30. So at 7:30 right now, we have Overlords just outside his base on the right-hand side now, which is good. You know, it's fine. Let's have a look in our... Okay, so first of all, this replay, you're not... Okay, so I can see that you're not ready for timings yet on this game, because right now at 7:30, you need to be getting ready for an attack. Right? Because we talked about the specific times. You don't have speed, I don't think. You've gone for your layer.
I actually believe I forgot it in this game as well.
So, okay, we'll neglect that for now as well. So let's say you did have speed, but you should be getting ready to build units right now. If you look at your drone count, it's at 46. You're about to build 3 more. You're roughly 50, which is fine. 50 drones is amazing for this, because right now, remember, if you're playing against a 2-base push, as long as you crush the push, that sounds funny, but as long as you crush it, right, you are ahead of the game. Simple. You have 3 bases, you have 3 queens, okay, 2 queens, but should be 3. So we have 3 queens, then you hit lava injects, you drone up to 80 in 10 seconds. It literally takes 10 seconds to drone up like that, right? So it doesn't matter if you stop at 50. Build 1 million units, stop his push, then go back to 75, 80 drones or whatever. And then you've sorted your drones out. So at this point right now at 7:30, this Overlord on that base just to his right needs to go in. So we're going to check if it does. It doesn't. And we'll go to 8 minutes. Okay, so it goes in 8 minutes. So you could have gone in a little bit earlier. But anyway, this is, you know, like Diamond. You know, he hasn't his Warpgate timing exactly. He hasn't chronoboosted it. But we go in, and what do we see? We see 3 gates, a robo. Okay, so I'm going to pause it at 9 minutes. Okay. So at 9 minutes, what do we not have? Let me just write down, by the way, these Overlords and gas timing. Okay, so the next point here is the sixth point here within this single replay is what we do not have is third base knowledge. Because we don't know, has he or is he looking towards doing that? Because you remember we talked about earlier, we need to kind of confirm that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So he hasn't got, or we haven't looked for a third base. We obviously need an overlord or a ling there. Either's fine. You've got 6 lings in the middle of the map. You should have the others on Oak Tower as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And then you should have a ling on this third base. And now we know that he's gone 3 gateways. He's got 4 onto the front of his base. That's 4. I mean, you know, the 1 extra is 4 and a robo. And we've seen an immortal. So against this, I'm pretty ling happy, man. I'm dancing with lings, man, because immortals are rubbish against pure lings. And even with sentries, he's only got 3 or shown you 3. That's not that many force fields. And if we look at everybody's vision, he only has 3 anyway, which is not a lot of force fields. So you can be very, very, very ling happy. You've got a Hydroden coming, which is absolutely fine as well. The only
response to the immortal.
Okay, cool. The only okay, you got the gases as well. That's fine. The only thing we're missing obviously is that evolution chamber, but like you said and pointed out, that was a mistake. But that's fine. You build units now. So let's go ahead and play through. Even though you scouted a little bit later, it's okay. You still got the information required because this guy was playing slow anyway. Your overall timing actually makes perfect sense. So right now we're building. Okay, so I'm just gonna come to 9 minutes 30 seconds. Okay, 9 minutes and 40 seconds exactly. Okay. So 9 minutes and 40 seconds. We've already talked about the timing pushes. What we don't have here again is obviously still the third base knowledge. We don't have the Zelnoga tower, and we're building drones. Why are we building drones? Like
it did not see the push.
Exactly, but you should be expecting it, right? He hasn't got a third base. He's on 2 bases. He's not going to sit in 2 bases for 15 minutes in the game. He's coming in the window between 8 minutes and probably 11 minutes. You probably see the latest. If not, then I don't know what he's doing on that 1 base, like mothership carriers, you don't know. But that is your window, 8 to 11 minutes. 8 minutes, obviously fast, and he's hitting timings well. 11 minutes, slow and hard. So there's your window. So right now, obviously, we need to be looking out for that. You need to have a ling outside of his ramp. You need to have the Zelnog tower, because then you wouldn't have built 5 drones. You shouldn't have built 5 drones anyway, because right now, what are we at? 26 lings, alright, that's not bad, but you're not going to beat a push with 26 lings, no way, not even with 4 roaches, and if it's a strong push, you're not beating it. So that's a really bad to drone 6 times, and then, okay, so I want to pause again at 10 minutes-ish. So at 10:17, really specific. Alright, so at 10:17, exactly. Okay, so if you were to describe Zerg in 1 word, it would be reactionary. Okay? This is the okay, this is the worst reactions you could ever have, because you physically can't have good reactions to this. And look at that, okay? You see it, and he's literally 2 inches away from creep on your third base by the time you see this push. We go on everybody's view, he's got more than enough to kill us, right? So that is not good for our reaction time, since we're playing the reactionary race. Therefore, there is your mistake in this game. Right there. And that's it. Like, the rest of the game doesn't matter anymore, because now we've lost our third base, and that's where the game died. Because we didn't see this coming. Because of the timings and so on and so on. So let's just fast forward. We lose this base, of course. And then, obviously, things get sticky, we try other things, counterattacks and so on and so on and so on and so on. But that there was the biggest thing. We're on 2 base versus 3 base now. That's it. That's game over. And I hopefully I walked you through that alright, and we can hopefully address and improve on that from here on out. Okay, cool. So that's it. I wanted to look at this replay, and that broke that down quite hard for you, and hopefully that's cool. Alright, cool. So we're gonna do. Let's have a look at. Okay, so we roughly 45 minutes about. Okay, well, a little bit less even. Oh no, it was 45 minutes. Okay, so 45 minutes has been. Alright, so let's go ahead and just do that one more time with I don't know, would you prefer me to look at your Terran replay, or would you want me to do another Protoss one?
I prefer Protoss, as I don't have that many problems with the town.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and run an ad. Oh no, okay, so I'm gonna run an ad. So everybody, you might as well mute the stream because it's gonna be pretty loud apparently. So I'm just gonna give you guys a few seconds warnings, and then we're gonna go ahead and check out your next Protoss game. Okay, so it's the ZVP on 3, I guess, because you won the other one. So I guess that's not as important to look at, I suppose. Okay. Or would you? Which one would you prefer me to look at? The other game on.
I want both of these. I'm not really sure.
Would you? Okay, we can look at both of them if you want. That's fine.
I believe I actually also won this, but I'm not really sure.
Okay. All right. Well, look at the Shakur's Plateau, the second Shakur's Plateau game, which is against.
Okay.
Let me just load it up.
At least then can you probably tell me what I actually did right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So it won't just be a negative lesson.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. So this is against the player called Shaku.
Yeah, he's well known. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Very well known, I'm sure. All right. So let's just fast forward it through on ×8, and I'll just pick up on the small things. And I'm not gonna like say the same mistakes again. I'll highlight them, but I won't go over them over and over. So I'm just gonna go through, and I'll basically show you where it went wrong again. If you lost, I guess you did lose.
Maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, so obviously we could have. You've got that second queen again, even though it's a little bit. Okay, no, I was gonna say even though it's a little bit faster expansion, it's at 5 minutes basically, or a little bit after. So you could have done it 30 seconds earlier because we talked about that. And you obviously could have scouted for that probe if there was a probe down in the south. We talked about your overload spread and Ling is beautiful at 6 minutes. Very, very nice. I like it a lot. The Zelnoga Tower is great. Droning up, great. And we should obviously be throwing those double attractors down, great. Roach 1 Evolution Chamber down, good. Everything's going really good so far. How do we lose this? So right now, it's approaching 7:30. Okay.
I actually win this because I was thinking I need to make it a lot of units at some point, so just made a hell lot of links without actually knowing I had to make them.
Okay.
And apparently it delays his push so much that I could.
Okay. Nice. Well, first of all, 7:30, the gases. You know, his gases, the fourth and whatever gases. I'm just going to switch over everybody's view, and I see a third gas being taken at this time. I don't see them both taken already. So at 7 minutes, if he takes both the gases, or even earlier than that, 6:30, 7 minutes, you know that he's going to tech up really, really fast. At 7:30, 8 minutes, you know he's adding on gas to aid his gateway push. Because he's, you know, we talked about how he had minerals at that time at 7 minutes to build those gateways, ready for 8-minute warp-ins. So right, first of all, the gas scout. So let's go back. That's the biggest point here. So I'm just going to write that down. Obviously, the notes for this replay won't be as intense as the other one. So first point here, just the 7 minute, even earlier, his gas scout. Very important to check that. Natural, dude. Your goal, 6 months mid masters, man. You're gonna be grandmasters by the time I'm finished here. All right, so 7 minute, checking his gases, of course. So let's just continue with this replay. So we lose a Ling on the front. That's fine. At 8 minutes, we're building units. Great, great. The only thing we're missing at 8:30 is the timing again. We should have been in already. Because if you go in now, you see it very late. And you then already see, because we're going to go in now, and I'm paused at 8:30 by the way. So we're going to go in now, and we're literally going to see 5 gateways, or, what's that? Okay, we're going to see 4 gateways of Twilight Council and Forge. And we're going to see as it finishes, basically, by the time we get over there. We obviously want to be in there as it's been built. Gives us the most reaction time possible, playing the reactionary race. And so on and so on. Alright, so we go in, whatever. Double overload scout, okay. And we get the scout. Let's have a look what you scout. So you do scout everything. So at 9:15 you do scout everything. So you build 12 more drones, which in itself should have been built before these Lings were built.
Yeah.
You just should have switched them around basically, because then your economy is better because you built 12 drones first, then build your Lings and whatever. Anything you want to say before I continue with this past 9:15?
No.
Okay, cool. So we have a lot of Lings now. Obviously overload capped, so okay. So right now, once again, single Zergling to his third base. we talked about. Okay, so now as push comes, let's have a look in your vision again. So, okay, we lose all that crap at the third base. We don't know now.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to delay the third
Okay,
base.
okay.
Mainly.
So
I didn't really care that much about my links.
okay, let me just have a look at that. Okay. But why would you... So, at 10 minutes exactly, right? You have your lings there.
Oh.
So, let's go to 10 minutes exactly.
Oh.
Maybe you were talking about the wrong lings.
Maybe.
So, I'm paused at 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm paused at 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay, so coming at 10 minutes.
I'm at 10 minutes now, yeah.
Okay, you kill his probe there at 10 minutes, right? I'm at 10:15 or whatever now, just pause at 10:15, and you leave your lings there. Is that for stopping a third base?
Mainly because normally they will try to push. Normally either they will try to just push me after I delayed the first base, or they will come try to take it again. And I wanted to see if he actually tried to take it again. I wanted to push me.
Okay.
If that's understandable.
Yep, I understand you. The thing is, what I'm concerned about with this, I think that you read it a little bit wrong. First of all, you see one probe coming to go take the expansion. Great, you know he's trying to expand. If that's in his head to expand. Otherwise, the probe would never go that way. So you know his game plan is to expand. So when you kill that initial probe, then you should now know that he's going to come with his army to clear it out, right? Do you really want to sacrifice all these lings? What is better to sacrifice? All these lings or two? 2 lings compared to 8, 16, 24, 26. The job is completed in the exact same way with 2 lings or 26 lings. Because you're never going to kill the probe. He's not going to allow that to happen. He has force fields and zealots. He's going to be assisting the probe to that third base, right? So you go in there, you have 2 lings, and you see him coming again. You know his army's up there, right? And 2 lings will accomplish that just like 26 will. So you don't need them there. You could maybe have 2 lings there instead, and maybe you could be waiting where, let's at 10:15, where the other lings are, with everything. So now you know that he's coming, because you killed his probe, he's coming to take his third base with his army, we now know as well, because he has to. Then you can run everything into his main, because you've pulled him to the third. Something like that would have been a nice strategy to use, rather than, at 10:25 just losing everything and killing his stalker and a zealot or something.
Oh. Okay.
Alright, so that's nothing too big, but just kind of theorizing. So where do we wait? Okay, so you're at 60. Okay, you are on 6 gases when you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You should know that. Simply because you don't have a saturated... Okay, your natural's fine. Your main base is a little bit undersaturated. Because if you drag that box, you're kind of 2 to 4 under saturation. And then the third is none. So you always want to grab the 5th and 6th gas once you're saturated, of course, there.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of saturation problem, but let's continue with this now. So we are building a bunch of units. That's cool. We don't know if he has expanded, but we probably guess he is going to. And we spread the overlords. Fantastic. Great. And then we go into his third base. That's fine. And we kill all this stuff. We're killing his third base. Great. Good. That's absolutely fine. Still building. How many drones are we at? Okay, let's pause again at 13 minutes. Undersaturated still, quite heavily. You should be now, because if we talked about it, remember how we talked about building drones, right? Drones, 4 lings, drones to 50, or 40 to 50 against Protoss, 50 against Terran. And then you build units to get ready for his push, and then you rush to 75. Right? Very easy drone unit mechanic. So at 13 minutes, we built a lot of lings. We've done lots of cool stuff with killing his third base, but why are we not at 75 drones? Like, we have to be up that count. Because we don't have enough drones. You are playing, an ordinary style where you're playing very, very much so about building a heavy army size up and so on. But you need to get more drones than this. 61's not enough. Yeah. And then you can go back to building units and be happy about building units all the time. But you need more drones for sure. Because when your 4th base, we'll talk about the DTs and crap in a minute. But the 4th base, as that finishes at 13:30. we should be ready to take gases over there, but we're not. You know, we're not even ready to do anything at that base because we haven't finished with the third base yet. And we haven't technically finished in the main base either. And remember that every structure takes a drone away, so therefore we have to replenish it, and so on and so on. Alright, so let's have a play through this again. You're scouting, obviously we haven't got the Zelnoga tower. You haven't...
Yeah, but I can see his stance at the Zelnoga tower.
Okay. Okay, so...
are we at the same minute?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I keep forgetting to reference you. I'm at 1430.
Okay.
So if you want to come up to 1430 for me, I just want to bring up a new point. Okay, so 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Alright, so the next point is, you've now accepted the fact that he should have taken a third base. You've already cancelled it once or killed it once. You probably know he's taken it by now, right? At this time. Now you need to know, you should be sending an overseer in. What happens next? You've already... and this actually is really, really highlighted in the way that you talk about your game. In your notes, you talk that one base... This is what I do versus one base Protoss. This is what I do against two base Protoss. You don't highlight anything else, right? This is a mistake. This is a mistake in itself. You're not thinking deep into the game. So you've kind of stopped at 2 base. You know, what about 3 base? What about 4 base? What can Protoss do then? So as he takes a third base, and now he's going to gain a 5th and 6th gas through it, now what does he use that money on? Right? So at this point, you now know he's taken that third base. Let's go find out what he's using the money on. You know? It's that simple. So let's say at 14:30 seconds, you turn the 6 o'clock overlord into an overseer. And you go in, and you'd be like, alright, well, there's a Dark Shrine. If you didn't know already, I think you did. And then you'd be like, alright, well, there's the Templar Archives. I don't see a robotics facility. So he's probably going to be like Zealot Archon kind of rubbish, probably. And Storm. And then you should be quite comfortable with that and be like, alright, well, Zealot Archon, I can probably just go for my Roach Bling kind of style. It's absolutely fine. But you need to know that, which is something we don't do. So if I'm just fast forward it on ×8 and your vision from 1430 to, let's say, 16, and then I'll come back to 1430. So you now know he's taking the third base, but we never attempt to scout all the way even past 16 minutes, 1630. We don't know anything. I
only got the assumption that he's got his whole army at the Order Zelnoga tower and its Stalker Zealot things.
Yeah.
And I can see he don't help Link and...
Yeah.
But yeah.
But, you know, obviously you're going to win this game, but you can see how we could have done it better, for sure.
Of course.
Okay, cool. One little tip for you here as well on your third base at this time as well, before we end this and start to play the practical side of the lesson, is that Spore Crawler and Spine Crawler, you don't need it in the mineral line. You should actually have that where the Queen is right now at 1630. Because if you think about it, if he sends DTs, great, you've got your third base defended, but pretty much he's going to be able to run into your fourth base, right? Because the Spine Crawlers won't kill them fast enough, the Spore Crawler may not even detect, I think it will just about detect them running in, but not until they touch around the ramp area. And as long as you have them right touching the cliff area, you're obviously going to get more surface area on stopping them. And it's the same even for against Zerg, for example. Like if you take a third base and you're playing against Infestor style, also have the Spore Crawlers, Spine Crawlers just in front of the third base, because then obviously the Bird Infestors and stuff like that can come through, and you're always got a safe pocket fourth base, and the only way he can get there is via like a Warp Prism or something, or maybe a Pylon and then Observer or something like that. But 1630 as well, just other things is like you should be Overlord spreading again onto his fourth base and so on, you know, like you did earlier, but you just do it again. And let's just fast forward again, and you must take a fight soon. But yeah, overall it's not too bad. This one's not as bad as the other one, but just more on the scouting.
I believe this is after I played some games.
Okay. Alright, and you destroy his army, good. But I want to bring up that point we talked about at the start, okay? I know this is a little bit more difficult because you've gone for the Overlord and drops, but I want you to look at 1810. So I'll just get there. Okay, so 1810, first of all, your main base, ideally, in an ideal world, and this obviously may be a little bit too far out of your reach, but obviously I'll write this down as well.
Oh.
And then it's something that you can look in the email notes after and concentrate on. So ideal world lava injects. I'll remind myself to include that in the email. Okay, in an ideal world, we hit every lava inject. So we go lava inject, lava inject, lava inject, lava inject, attack. Because then we have the maximum amount of time to play. Because we talked about that 10-second window, right? If we hit that lava inject, we have a full whatever amount of time it takes for the lava inject to do whatever we want in the fight. If we, for example, in this game at 1810, if you look in your main base, you know, and we just keep it 10 seconds for now, obviously it's not 10 seconds, but we'll use that again for an example, you only have, what, 3 seconds left for the example purposes. So you've wasted 70% of time before you need to come back. You need to come back. It's very important to come and hit your lava injects. Very, very important, because we're playing the swarm.
No.
So ideally, that is when you should attack, is once you've hit lava injects. Obviously, that's in the ideal world, and he might not even allow us to do that. Alright, so let's have a look at this now. So I want you to go into 1810 normal, your vision, your camera, okay? And I want to play on normal. So let's go 3, 2, 1, play. And I'll look at this fight in slow-mo and what exactly you do. Okay, so your hotkeys, okay, are cool. You're absolutely fine. I want to pause it again now at 1820. This is just a very fast question. You don't have to worry about it or anything. Are you comfortable with 3 hotkey setups? Are you comfortable with 1A, 2A, 3A, or 1, 2, 3 move and then that?
That's what I got used to. Yeah.
Okay, good. And you are very fine in controlling all 3. Okay, is that right?
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because a lot of people I kind of come into, they realize that 1, 2, 3 is the best setup to have because it gives you the flexibility to control multiple ways, but they fail in controlling it. So I was just checking that because if you do fail in controlling it that way, you should be having the roaches infested on the same hotkey or something. But that's absolutely fine. Okay, great. So.
But of course, I won't play perfectly all the time.
Exactly.
But still.
Exactly. But we're on the way to being playing perfectly, man. We're in Master League soon, so don't worry about that. We'll get there. Maybe you'll be a pro gamer and we can endorse a sponsorship deal later on or something. Apparently, hold on one sec. The stream might have gone offline. I just got to check. I don't think so. Oh, okay. It's apparently... It works for some people, but not all. Let me just have a look before we continue. I'll add on a couple minutes on the end. Let me have a quick look. I'll just restart the stream, I guess. And then we just continue where we left off.